Good evening, dear participants. This is G. Ranganathan, Secretary of the Committee for Members in Industry and Business of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and we very heartily welcome today's faculty, C.A. Satyamurthy Ramanujam from Chennai, who will be sharing a PPT and making a presentation to you on humor in communication for success in corporate world. Before I hand over the virtual dais to C.A. Satyamurthy, I would like to thank the Institute's President, C.A. Dr. Debashish Mitraji, Institute's Vice President, C.A. Aniket S. Talatiji, for kindly giving us the permission to hold this program for our July 2021 pass-out candidates who are into their first job. Everyone is in the job, as you all know, from the campus or off campus, all of you get the job, whosoever passes the examination. There is no unemployment as far as chartered accountants are concerned, happily. And I also extend a warm welcome to you all on behalf of the Chairman of the Committee for Members in Industry and Business, C.A. Ranjit Kumar Agrawalji, and its Vice Chairman, C.A. Dr. Raj Chawla. I'll just read out a few lines to introduce you, the speaker of today's evening. C.A. Satyamurthy qualified as a chartered accountant in the year 1987 and completed his graduation from Madras University in the year 1984. He recently relocated from Kuwait and currently providing CFO services to SMEs in India. He is recognized as high performance leader and distinguished Toastmaster from Toastmasters International USA. In his last assignment in Kuwait, he worked for one of the largest local group of Kuwait, Al Mullah Group, for 13 years. He spent more than 2 decades in Middle East, spread between Kuwait and Oman. Before moving to Middle East, he worked for MNCs at Chennai, Bangkok, Thailand, and New Delhi. In his lifespan of 55 years, there have been many people who have come into his life and shaped his character. He has always been a keen learner and endeavored the good things and avoid what makes him feel bad. He feels every action and reaction has some learning attached to it. He also does a lot of introspection. He follows the principle of observing and imbibing good traits of people with whom he gets to meet regularly, his family members, friends, colleagues at office, etc. There are many people out there who have played a significant part in he being what he is. His greatest accomplishments have been in the front of motivating people, instilling positive attitude, knowledge sharing, and creating team spirit. Over to you, C.A. Satyamurthy, sir. The virtual dice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranganathan, sir, and Prabdeep Singh for inviting me for this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts on how humor helps in corporate communications. I thank the office bearers of the CA Institute who are doing a great service, shaping up the future of young chartered accountants who are just out after qualifying from that great feeling of being a CA and into the jungle called corporate world, and also in looking at the politics of the corporate world, and then swimming against the tide, meeting the performance benchmarks. It's a real hard road out there, and huge competition there to succeed and distinguish themselves in their careers. And I wish them all a great future ahead. One of the key things one needs to have in the corporate world, which I learned very early, is that you need to make your work an enjoyable place. There is this famous saying by Mr. Vikram, who was the president of Citibank long time back. In his parting letter to the employees, there was one phrase he wrote: if you love what you do, you won't work even one day in your life. We know about great people like Sachin Tendulkar or Tiger Woods, the great golfer. All of them have made their hobby as their profession and excelled in that. How they could do it? Because they enjoyed what they did. But if you are a bookkeeper, an accountant, a finance manager, heading a department of the finance department of a company, always a very challenging and tense, stressful environment for all of us. And how do you make your life easy and enjoyable? Because if you look at your life of a day, 24 hours you have, maybe in these days people sleep 6 to 8 hours a day. Some of them may be sleeping only 4 hours a day. With all these OTT platforms and all these things, we come home, we have a lot of engagement in the social media. We look at YouTube, we look at Instagram, we look at Facebook, we engage in conversations in Twitter. All of these things we do, and ultimately when we go to bed, maybe it is 12 o'clock, 12:30, and then your day starts next day by 6:30, 7 itself. And some of my colleagues, the young colleagues, maybe also in BPO kind of environment where they may be serving clients who are there abroad, in US and other places. So they may even be sleeping in the daytime and working in the night time. All said and done, in your day, in your life, in a day, the major time that you spend is in your work. Because that is the time you are basically focused on doing something. In all other times, you are sleeping, or you're doing your morning chores, or you are eating, or you are doing your exercises like that. But if a major chunk of your time during your career is spent in your office, in your work. Now, if you make that place a miserable location, or if you face a miserable feeling going to work, it is not going to help you in any way, both in career growth or in your health, in having a good health and stress-free life. So, humor, as we all know, plays a very, very important role in keeping ourselves happy, joyous, and attract more friends. So my presentation is all about how do we use humor in communication for success in corporate world, and how to find humor, how to become funny, and how to enjoy the small mistakes and things that happen in slip-ups that happen in your corporate life, right? And make it a comfortable place for us and also for our colleagues. Before even I get into the presentation, I want to tell a small joke. Very, very long time back, just when I was doing my articleship training for CA, some of my seniors who had formed a company for computer services in those times, in 1986. They had joined as partners and started this company. And 1 year into the business, they had some quarrel among themselves. And so my boss was playing the arbitrator for them. And a lot of my friends, because they are our seniors, so my other colleagues were very curious to know whether this company is being split, is going to be wound up, what is going to happen. People are very interested in gossip. So one of the friends came curiously to me and asked, "Hey, what's happening? Are these guys splitting?" Now, I knew some information about this, but I didn't want to say anything, because if you say one way or other, it may turn out to be wrong, and you may be getting into the bad books of one of the people. So I said, I don't know whether they are splitting even. And then I said, if they are splitting, I'm sure they will be splitting even. So now that lightened up the atmosphere and made them laugh, because the small wordplay I had. saying that, I don't even know whether they are splitting, or if they are splitting, because they are equal partners, they will be splitting even. So they will have an equal share of the whatever the company's worth is. This is how you can lighten up the atmosphere in a corporate situation. So let's move on. I only have 672 slides for today's presentation, so you don't have to worry that it will be short and sweet. Okay, only 672 presentations, not more than that. So why you need sense of humor? A sense of humor is part of the art of leadership, of getting along with people, of getting things done. This is told by Eisenhower, former US president. Now I want to give you a small anecdote. Ronald Reagan, he was an actor, and he became the president of the United States. When he became president itself, he was one of the oldest people to become the president of the United States. And after his first 4 years, he again was competing to become the president for a second term. At that time, he had really become old, and there was a criticism in the press that he is too old to be the president of the United States, the most powerful country in the world. And the opponent for him was a much more younger person, and he was basically running a campaign that Ronald Reagan is very old, so you should elect somebody who is young and energetic like me, like that. Now the press people always follow this kind of information. So once what they countered Ronald Reagan, and then they asked him, your opponent is campaigning that you are too old. So what do you want to say about it? So Ronald Reagan immediately, he had that glib of tongue to turn a negative thing into a positive thing. He said, just because you people are asking, I am not going to make the inexperience of my opponent as an election issue. So let him be what he is. Okay. So I'm not going to make it as an election issue. So let's move on like that. The moment he said that, it became a headline news in the US papers. Ronald Reagan says his opponent is inexperienced. The talk of old versus young went away. Then it became experience versus inexperience. That's how, see, US presidentship is not a small joke. It's like corporate, it is business, big time business, right? So at that place, at the powerful, when he is competing for the most powerful position in United States, he had that sense of humor. Because the sense of humor is, if it is there with the leader, it is appreciated much more. Winston Churchill is very, very known for his sense of humor. Like that, many leaders are there. We all love people with a sense of humor. In India, we all enjoy Mr. Sashi Tharoor and his English and how it flummoxes people, right? He never stops giving us enjoyment with his great English. So, whoever has embraced humor, they are able to be successful. You with whom you attach yourself more. See, in a you go to a movie and it may be an action thriller, but then the small places where subtle humor comes up, immediately you enjoy that situation because it diffuses that tension in the scene. Sometimes the hero may be doing a very important job, like diffusing a bomb. At that right moment, one small line punchline will come, which will make a great laughter everywhere. In James Bond movies, people would have seen this happen again and again. So it is not just a feature that you should have. It is an admirable part of a leader's character, and it has become a mandatory one now these days. If you have a sense of humor, then only you will be able to survive in the corporate world, and also you will be able to make friends easily. Whether it is your boss or your colleague, if you have a sense of humor, you will be able to become more friendly to them, and you will be able to cement relationships much better. So why do we need humor? Let's see. First of all, humor grabs attention. Let's assume you are in a party, okay, and around whom you see people crowd up. Anybody who is able to tell a story, who can narrate things, and who is able to crack jokes, around him the crowd gathers, and you can see loud laughters around that person, and people will be envious of this guy who is able to crack jokes just like that, right? So he will be able to make wordplay, he will be able to make pun, he will be able to pull somebody's legs, and he will make people laugh. So then he becomes the center within your company. Develop a sense of humor, and then it relieves tension, because in our corporate world, tension is always present. It is all omnipresent thing next to God in the corporate world is tension, because you are working on deadlines. Your boss is asking for a report to be sent to him immediately. You actually wanted the report yesterday. You are working overtime. You have already taken the extended time, and you are burning the midnight oil. The numbers are not tallying. Some information that has to come from another department has not come. So you are very tensed. In those times, what helps you to relieve the tension? Humor helps you to relieve the tension. I'll give you a small example. In our company, we had a very important meeting because there was a lot of complaint about customer service. Of course, I am from the finance department. Then we have the sales department person. We had also the HR department person in the meeting, and we had the customer service person in the meeting. Now all the criticism is on the customer service. Now my boss is asking, what is really happening to our customer? Is he happy? How do we make him happy? So everybody is tensed. There is always a blame game happening. It is a sales guy who has promised more. They say that the accounts department did not deliver the check on time. Disbursal, we are a finance company, so the disbursal check was not presented properly, or some collection was not updated correctly, or somebody called from the collection department and abused the customer. All these things are flying around. So then they asked me, what's your view? I said, sir, I think we are the best customer service in our company. He asked, how do you say this? I said, one time the customer calls, we make sure that he will never call again. Now, it was a loaded statement. So why will a customer never call? In situation when we have provided the service well, and he has been satisfied, and his problem has been solved, he will never call. Or you have frustrated him so much, pushing him to one department to another, so he never calls again. He moves his account to another company, and he never comes back. So I stopped at that place, and then I told him, he moves away from our company. That is the status of our customer. Everybody laughed at that time, and then the tension came down. Then we started to look at how do we manage the problem, work cohesively to see that the issue that we are providing the poor customer service is addressed, and we all work cooperatively. So once you relieve the tension, solutions come up. And then humor livens up the interactions. How? If you are humorous, if you crack a joke, you basically cut the ice. Because usually what happens when you go and sit in a meeting, even with a stranger you are sitting in a meeting, not always we meet our colleagues in the office. We also meet bankers who visit us, or we go to banker to discuss with them about our company, or we have business partners visiting us. In all those situations, usually there is some kind of iron wall between us. We want to maintain that distance. We are not able to interact freely and exchange our views easily. When you use humor, if you are able to tell a joke, narrate an incident, all those things, automatically the situation becomes light and it makes people loosen up and talk freely with you because they know that this person is accessible. He is a funny person. He is a joy to work with. When people say, you go and see LinkedIn, have you seen any profile under which people have written, it's a joy to work with so and so? If it is written, what does it mean? This person made it a happy occurrence to interact with this person. So if you create joy, it creates bonding. How do you create joy? One of the best tools to create joy is being courteous, being amenable to criticisms. With that, being able to crack a joke, and maybe you don't have to crack a joke on the other person. You narrate an incident and tell him a joke, or you narrate a story, funny story, some stupidity that we did, right? All those things when you share, automatically makes you transparent. They get a feeling that you are a very transparent person for them. So this person is trustable. I can work with him because this guy is quite honest. He is able to say that I made this mistake, right? Now, how humor helps in the corporate world? First, it creates a enjoyable work environment. Now, you see, when you are in work, I told you already that it cannot be always work. Nobody will be interested in doing that. You need relief in between work. For example, as the finance manager of the company, I had this authority to sign checks and also approve payment vouchers. So payment vouchers will keep coming to me. I'll have to look at it, audit it, and see whether all evidences are available, all supporting documents are in place, all authority levels have been cleared. Then only I will give and I see properly whether the accounting treatment has been done properly. Then I will give an approval for the voucher to be updated into the system. And then when the payment request comes to me, I'll check all these things and then sign the check. One time what happened? Every day we process so many checks and so many payments. And one of my colleagues is coming to me. Now I am in the middle of some urgent MIS report that is to be sent to my boss. And I'm very, very busy in that. I'm focusing. Now this voucher comes to me to sign. So you want to get to know what is happening. Because you don't have the time to spend a lot in getting into the details of the voucher. So I asked my colleague who has come to me, what is this? So now I am expecting him to explain to me what is this payment all about, why it has come, what reason we are making this payment, all these things. So he said, sir, a voucher. Now I said, yes, hello voucher, how are you? I check, long time no see. Like that I started talking with the voucher. Then I told him, boss, I am doing it for 25 years. I am very friendly with this voucher and the check. Okay, can you explain, introduce me to this voucher, what he is all about? Today what is he saying? The moment I said that, the situation relaxed. He started laughing. Sir, you are really funny. Because when he comes to me, he thinks that he's a manager, inaccessible, a control freak. I will not be able to move with him freely. Now, when the moment I said, hello voucher, how are you? Like that, because I asked him, what is this voucher all about? And he is telling me, ये voucher है sir. मुझे तो मालूम है ये voucher है. But what this voucher contains? So I started talking with the voucher and the check. Then he said, so why are you talking? I am saying, boss, I want to talk to you, but you are saying ये voucher है, introduce कर दिया, उसके साथ बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. Automatically the situation changed, and then he explained to me what is the voucher about, and I signed. So now that incident, he remembers. In my farewell party, he was explaining to me that. See, that's how impression you create when you are funny and humorous and every situation. I go on rounds to my accounts department. So I just go around and talk to my colleagues all the time. So one of them is working in Excel. So when you're working in Excel, what do? You may be moving from one cell to another, going up and down, the up arrow, down arrow, right arrow, left arrow, you keep pressing it, right? So he had a keyboard which had the up, down, left, right arrows only in red color. in that keyboard it was like that. The design was like that. So he was doing this very tense. He was. Then I said, see, in this place only Asgar is the person who works very hard. They said, how do you know, sir? See his up and down arrows. He is pressing them so much that it has become red and it's on fire. The moment I said this, all of them were working there in that floor. They all, became excited and they started laughing, right? So that immediately brings down the tense situation on something they were working on a deadline, and then it relaxes them. It reduces the stress. And then it has got a humanizing effect. Why? Because a boss is coming and freely moving with people, cracking a joke. And of course, as a boss, I should also be allowing them to tell a joke to me. But they cannot take me light during the business hours, right? Because I'm cracking jokes. So if I give him important work and he says he must be telling a joke only, it's not a work to be completed on time deadline. Not that way. But you need to be, you can be a person who is approachable, who is free, who is friendly. How do you create that image? You create that image by being a person who can crack jokes and be humorous, right? Now, humor is a creative aspect of everybody's life. So how can you be humorous? People who think out of the box only can be humorous, right? Because if I ask you how are you and you tell me the expected answer, I am fine, that is the humor. No humor, right? Now one of my friends, he had a very beautiful pen. So I asked him, nice pen, how much? He said 1 pen. It is an answer that was not expected. He could have told it is 100 rupees, it is 500 rupees, it is 1000 rupees, 50,000 rupees, anything. But he said it is 1 pen. So I said, can you tell me something? He said something. So now, right? Now what happens? It immediately relaxes, right? But to tell that answer, only a creative mind can think of. It is called lateral thinking, right? It's called lateral thinking. You think something very different from what normally people think. So it boosts. The more humorous you are, the more creative thinker you become. So you think out of the box and you come up with new answers. So it will not restrict yourself to humor. It's an exercise to your brain to think creatively in your job. So you will find out of the box solutions if you are able to think creatively, and humor helps to boost this power, and it removes the mask. Now, I told you, if you are humorous, you will be inclined to tell stories about not just mistakes somebody else is doing. Most of the time, the most powerful jokes are about the mistakes that we do and which we share with people and show that not only we are stupid, you are stupid, I am also stupid. Long back, when I was doing my articleship training and I was attending classes in the CA Institute in Chennai, statistics was taught by one teacher called Natarajan. Okay, he was one of the most funny persons. He must be now maybe 70 years old. At that time, he was one of the most funny people who have taken classes for us. So he will say, you people will be preparing for your exams. So you will be very, very tensed. And you will be thinking whether I will be able to do the exams well, whether I will pass, whether I have studied well, do I know all the subjects well, all the chapters well, can I solve this question? Like that, you may be very tensed. Then he cracked the joke. Whenever you feel that you will not be able to qualify, think of me. If he can qualify, I can qualify. The moment he said that, the whole class erupted into laughter. How many years now? More than 37 years after, I remember still that joke he cracked. Now that makes you also think. It says, see, this person says, I passed. So it is not a big deal. to clear CA. Anybody can, who is focused, can clear the exam. He has cleared it. If it is very difficult, he would not have cleared it, right? So he cleared it. So I can also clear. That motivates also, and also it helped us to see beyond the mask. He is the boss. He is the professor. He is the lecturer. He is very intelligent. I cannot pass. Like that, we had a problem. But then he removed the mask. He said, I can pass. I failed 6 times. Seventh attempt only I cleared. So it's not a big deal. You can also clear. So it removes the mask and it makes you closer to people. Because the more mask you wear, of course, I'm not talking about the corona mask, right? You become more contagious if you don't wear the mask, right? So contagious means what? You can easily attach with people, right? So you can virally join with people if you remove your mask. So you can take the analogy from the corona mask also. If you don't have the mask, you are contagious. You can become friendly with people. And humor reduces the staff turnover. Why? A place which is enjoyable to work in, people want to stay. In our company, in one of my companies where I worked before, each person was working there, was working for 12 years, 13 years, 14 years, 20 years. One person was working for 35 years. And he could have easily he was very intelligent. He could have easily got a job in any other company. But I asked him, why did you stay? He said, it's a family atmosphere. I enjoy coming to this office. I love the people with whom I am working. They are all friendly. They are very humorous. They stay as a family member with me and share things with me. So I enjoy coming to the job. That is why I stay here. So humor creates that sticky bond. It removes all the shackles and makes people closer. So it helps you in your career growth and also your permanency in the job. So the job, what can I say? Insecurity in the job also can go. Okay. Then it removes the sir, if I am going on time or out of time, just tell me, okay? Because I am taking a little more time, right? And also I said I have 672 slides. So, okay. So it removes the it increases accessibility. Like I told you, the moment you say that I am approachable, I am friendly, I don't carry a mask, and you can anytime come to me, we can share some happy things with each other. You are able to remove that shackles, and people will be able to come and talk to you about problems. Because many times what happens is, let's say you are into a software development in the company, like a new software is getting implemented. Now, as a manager, you will not be actually hands-on into that software to provide solutions, to know the problems in the software, or to get the tools developed as needed. Who is the person who is operating the software day in and day out? It is your colleagues who are subordinates who will be doing. They must come and tell you what problems are there in the software. Now, if they don't tell, how will you know? And how do you make them to come to you, come forward and tell you freely whatever problems they are facing? It is only when they think that you are approachable. How do you make yourself as a person, approachable person with whom people can come and freely talk, discuss about their ideas, get patted on their back, appreciated, and also create those solutions for the problems that they have. Only when you are humorous, you are able to convey that I am here, I am receptive, I am friendly with you. So I enjoy working with you. People will come forward and talk to you. Then you stand out from the crowd. See, all communications that are memorable, either they are motivational, which have inspired people, or they are humorous and funny, right? Once you are funny, you are not only friendly with your department colleagues, also interdepartmental. Because usually what happens, finance department people are seen as enemies by sales department people, and sales department people, maybe sales function people, will be considered as somebody who is whiling away time and freely roaming around, and company is doing all the advertisement. what work they are doing. They are getting a lot of incentive because you are sitting in the finance department, you are passing the vouchers for their incentives, and you are thinking that I am getting paid less. These people are roaming around happily and getting a lot of money. Company is doing all the advertisement expenses. Still, these guys are taking credit for the sales. Like that, the finance person will be thinking, and the HR person will be thinking that none of them are working, none of them are coming to the job on time. They are wasting all the time. Like that, the HR department will be thinking. Now, how do you stand out and create a friendly atmosphere? Through your communication. And how communication means not when you are writing an email, you crack jokes in that. No, those are official communications. They will be above board. But when you are talking to each other, when you use humor to tell them the problems and issues, then you become memorable. So in my office, what happened? One of the person was frequently absent, so very unreliable. So we wanted to. Then I told the HR, this guy is not coming on time. He is absent all the time. So we should do something. Then he said, the HR manager said, issue a memo. I said yes, but he is absent. How can he deliver? If I have to issue a memo, he should be available. If he is absent, how do I deliver the memo? So then that lightened up the conversation. Then he realized, yes, this guy has to be, when he is available, we need to call and talk to him. And because I don't want to terminate the person, I want to make this guy understand that he is working for a important company and he is working in an important function. His presence is very important. And what is the problem he is having that makes him a frequent absentee? So these kind of communications, right? And then it increases the enthusiasm. The more you interact with humor, the more you improve the productivity of people, because people are enthused to work with you. They will take your they will not think that you are giving an order. They will think, your colleagues will think that it is a friendly request from my boss, from my colleague to do this job. There are times when you don't have to be a boss, but you are a colleague, equal, peer, and you want some help, part of your workload to be taken over by somebody else. When will he do it? He will do it when you are considered as a person who is very friendly, who is enthusiastic, who is humorous, who is funny. I want to be in relationship with this guy. That person will create the enthusiasm required in a job. Now, all these things you told, sir. What is humor? Okay, we watch a lot of movies, humorous scenes we see, comedy scenes we see stand-up comedians like Amit Tandon, and we laugh. Sakir is there. So many people we see and we laugh. But what is humor? How do they create humor? Okay, first, relatable frustrations. Okay, what is relatable frustration? Whatever painful things you have gone through, when you tell them, look back and tell them playfully, right? Because there are many times you would have done something, and if you look back in flashback, it will look very funny. Did I do this? Was it me who did this? I'll give you an example. These relatable frustrations need not necessarily be office related, need not necessarily be corporate related. Okay, you are using your humor to create the corporate relationships. So it is not necessary that humorous situation or your personal stupidity should have happened, or personal frustration should have happened only in the office. It could have happened in your personal life. It could have happened in a friend's personal life who is not even connected to the company. But when you narrate that incident with your friends, right, and the humor comes out in all that. For example, I'll tell you a story. When I was working in the company in Kuwait, and in Kuwait, like we have weekends, a lot of family friends are there who will invite us for dinner, lunch, like that, get-togethers. Other families also will join most of the time. So one of my wife's friends, let's call her auntie. So Rima auntie called us for a dinner, right? But when she called, we we noted down. She called me, not my wife, and she said communicate to her also. So she told Friday 7 o'clock, come. So somewhere I noted it. Okay, Friday 7 o'clock we have to be there. Friday is a holiday in the Middle East, right? So I told my wife on Thursday itself, tomorrow we have to go to Rima auntie's house for food. So we'll have to be on time. I don't want to go late and all that. So she is very particular on this. Okay. So next day morning, I put the alarm and got up at 5:30 a.m. and I made my sons and my wife, everybody start on time. 6:45 bang, we are out and we took the car, and by 6:59 we are at the doorstep of auntie's house. We rang the bell. Then she came and opened the door in her nightie. I couldn't say anything. You called us for food. I told you for dinner. 7 o'clock in the evening. Now I look at my wife. For this, you made us you pressurized us to get ready, change your saree fast, get ready like that. I would have told about 1,000 times in the morning. And then we land up here at 7 o'clock in the morning when she has called us at 7 o'clock in the evening. Now, this is one incident where I was stupid. I didn't note down in the mind that she called us for dinner. She called us, I said, to eat, for a get together. So, and it didn't occur me that she would not have called on a Friday at 7 o'clock on a holiday, early morning. It didn't occur to me at all. And then at least before I rang the bell, I could have seen outside her door. There were not many slippers. Only us were there. So I should have at least known at that time, without ringing the bell, at least I would have come out. But I rang the bell and then I became a stupid after that I came out. Now, this is a story when you narrate in the office. Somebody does a stupid thing. And you say that, what happened. Usually what happens, one person narrates a stupid thing, we also tend to say, we talk relatable things, right? So, relatable experiences. If we have done something, maybe it happened with somebody else also. Okay. So, you tell those things. When it happened, it was a very painful thing because we got up early, we drove 15-20 kilometers, we reached somebody's house and we woke them up. All those things. It's a painful thing. But later when you look back and see, it is a humorous situation because it's a stupidity done by you. Right? And then, tragedy is comedy at a later date. What is tragedy? Tragedy means, like the incident I told you now, it is a an instance of poor time management, poor planning, not noting down vital information like this. Another incident I'll tell you, we were to travel from Kuwait, we were to travel to UAE for a important program. That program happens on a fixed date. So let's say 14th April was the program and you need to apply for a visa. Even though you are living in another Middle Eastern country, you need to apply for a visa and then go to the UAE for attending the program. Now, the moment I came to know of the date of the program, it was away about 2 months later. I said I should not miss it. I booked the flight ticket, and then I went and applied for the visa. Online you can apply the visa, and the visa came within 24 hours. Dubai government was too good. They sent back the visa for me. So I took the visa, I put it alongside the ticket and put it in my travel bag. I said, we have to travel on 14th April. So I will only open on 14th April and see. And whoever is asking, I said, I already booked the ticket, I already got the visa, I already booked the ticket, I already got the visa. Everything is done. Then on the day we have to travel, we go to the airport. And then my friend and I was so enthusiastic, we are going to land there and we are going to have a great time, this presentation is going to be fantastic, all that. And then we give the tickets to the counter. He checks in my friend and he looks at me and says, where is your visa? So I said, my visa for Kuwait is stamped till 2024. No, I'm not asking about your Kuwait visa, I'm asking about your UAE visa. I said, the UAE visa is pinned there, it is there. Sir, it is not valid. Now I look at it from the day it is they have approved the visa. It's valid only for 1 month, and I had taken the visa 2 months before. It's already expired. I didn't even notice it. Now it is a stupid act of negligence, not seeing something. But at that place, I was looking like an idiot, right? So now, when you look at it, this is a story. When you say somebody else will come and tell me, I missed a flight, I missed a train, I did this, I did that. They will come back and narrate their own relatable experiences, right? So, display of these stupid happenings in your life in a intelligent manner, nicely worded. If you are able to tell a story, you will make people enjoy. There, the humor is existing, right? Maybe in your house, your wife told you to wait for a cooker to whistle 4 times and stop it, and you forgot totally, and then it blew off, the lid. All those things are funny incidents, right? These things keep happening in our life. Maybe you didn't check that air pressure in the tire, and you drew the vehicle, and then you fell down. All those things become relatable, interesting incidents to be narrated to people. Okay, where is humor? I told you, personal experiences. If you sit back and think about it, you will have many incidents in your life which you can narrate humorously with your friends. It could be a movie you went, and then you booked for a movie and you went into the wrong cinema hall, or you went to a wrong location when you are trying to find out a friend's place. It happens in our life all the time, right? They would have told you to come to their house, and you would have noted down that he is calling you to this place, and you would have gone to some other place. Similar named streets may be there. Of course, these days Google Maps is there and helping you with the locations and all. But these kind of things keep happening in our life. And what you have heard, read, and seen, it need not necessarily be your own situations, right? These days, internet is full of humor, right? We see memes, we see Instagram stories, we read Facebook stories, other people write about their funny incidents. You can all imbibe all that, and you can make it yours, and also nicely re-narrate them to other people, right? And whatever things that make you laugh is certain to make other people laugh. So you collect those stories, tell it in your mind, and make it a point to share with others. 2 times you share, that story will get into your mind. For example, the story of going to an auntie's house at a wrong time, now it can become your story, right? If you say this, and you say that somebody invited me and I went like this and we looked stupid, it is your story now. Make it yours and narrate it, right? So you relive the situation and narrate it, then it will make, if it made you laugh, it will make others laugh also. Okay, where and how to use the humor? To use in meetings and presentations, right? Okay, now when you are having a meeting, most of us, what we think is that, in a meeting you should not be humorous. But if you look at corporate meetings, I've seen several corporate meetings abroad, the US and all that, they all start the meetings with a humorous anecdote or a story, right? And then tell. For example, we had our corporate presentation. Every month we used to have our MIS presentation. So one of my colleagues always shows that he is achieving the budget, right? So somebody came and asked me, another department person asked me, how is that Allah is always achieving his budget, and actuals are always more than the budget, he's always achieving. I said, no, he never achieves, not always he achieves. Every month he is not achieving, he just flips the column. Budget column to actual column, he flips it. So whenever he achieves the thing, budget is on the left side and actual is on the right side. Whenever he is not achieving, he will change the label and put the budget in the right side and the actuals in the left side. So it will always look like he is achieving all the time. Now, this creates a joke in an official meeting, right? In an official meeting, you crack the joke and you spice up the things in the meeting. You make people enjoy. So even in an official meeting, if you are professional enough to tell a nice story, you can create a nice meeting. Okay, and you break the monotony of a meeting. Things are going, in a very lethargic way. People are feeling sleepy. Liven up the proceedings by cracking a joke which is relevant. Think about it. What kind of meeting is going to be held, and accordingly, a relatable story you can tell in a meeting. And then during the break time, see what happens. We go for a seminar, we go for a workshop, even get-togethers in the office they are conducting. These are the times. See, need not necessarily that you are in the uniform, wearing a tie and a suit, and you are sitting in the meeting, and at the time you crack a joke. No need. There are times when we are with our official colleagues, but we are not in an official setting. That is when you can show that my image is not really the staid and very hard nut to crack kind of a finance manager. I am a human being. How do you show that? Maybe your office is playing a cricket match. You are there with them. At the time you crack your jokes. At the time you show your funny side, right? So break time, during lunchtime, when we are all together and all the official, the veil is removed and we are friendly at the time. So once you are considered as a friendly person during the non-official times, people will consider you as a friendly person even during the official time. Okay. Training sessions. Again, the workshops I told you, these are the times when we can connect with each other and become friendly. Get-togethers, family days, parties. These are all, you can say that, I will do a 5-minute stand-up comedy show. And then you can go on stage and crack jokes. That will make you very popular, and also it will help you to show your creative mind to people. And then in informal communications, pre-meeting, before the meeting. Why do we have to, normally when pre-meeting, what happens, how is the weather, what is the politics, that's all people talk, right? Instead, you can have, pre-meeting after hi, hello, everything. Today I had a funny thing happening, today this happened, that happened, some coincidences, all those things you can narrate during travel. Because on business we travel with colleagues. That is the time when we can remove shackles and talk to them in a friendly and funny manner. Okay. So if you think you are not funny, I'm sorry to say you are wrong. There is nobody who is not funny. Okay. Think of times you evoked laughter. Okay. Unless you are a very sad person, definitely I am telling you, there are times when you would have made people around you laugh. Okay. Think of those things. Recall those things. Relive these moments. Replicate those moments for your colleagues. Okay. And if you appreciate humor, see, it is not necessary that you have to crack the jokes. If your colleague is cracking a joke and you are able to laugh at that joke, you are able to appreciate that joke, you are able to, clap your hands and enjoy. You are a person who is funny because you are able to appreciate humor. That is very important. No, not necessarily I will be cracking the jokes and everybody is laughing. Sometimes others are cracking a joke. You should be able to laugh. Even if they crack the joke on you, you should have that, reduce that ego, lower your this ego and then laugh at the joke. Train yourself to become humorous. Okay, you can learn the craft. There are things, people think that, some people are inborn funny. A lot of people tell about me that I am very funny. I can crack a joke at any time. But it's a craft one can learn. That is the beauty of humor. Okay, there are many, many resources available for you to learn the craft. Toastmasters has got a separate, Toastmasters is, find out about Toastmasters, toastmasters.org, join there. And there is a special, path available to become a humorous speaker. So you can learn the tricks, get the feedback and improve your humorous skills. And also there is a website, please note down the website, comedywire.com. This website, every day they post a picture or they throw up a small question at you and tell you to write intelligent one-liners like that, which will make people laugh. Initially, what you can do is you go to Comedy Wire, see what other people are writing. Of course, in that I see a lot of foreigners are there, Americans and other people are there. But even you can, sometimes I go and challenge myself. I try to write something funny. You see a picture, and write something funny and see what other people have written. Then that automatically trains your brain to think in a wacky way. Okay, comedywire.com, you can look at it, and there are courses available in udemy.com, udemy.com. Go there and see how to write jokes, okay, how to speak funnily, how to be a humorous speaker, like that, how to be a stand-up comedian. You don't have to be a stand-up comedian, I'm telling you. You know, in the office you become a stand-up comedian, no work will be done, okay, but learn from them the tricks of how to become humorous, okay. And also in YouTube, there is a video which I will share it with Mr. Ranganathan, and he can put it in the description of the this particular seminar video. That particular YouTube link you can go and check. It says how to write 30 jokes in 15 minutes. Okay, any current affairs thing you can write a joke. Anything current affairs. Okay, that fellow teaches you in 30 minutes how you can funnily think about the events, and you can write jokes on anything. He starts with a blank page and writes 30 jokes about a single thing. Tiger Woods golf issue. That's all. On that he has written 30 jokes in 30 minutes. Live he is writing. You can see that. You can also write like that. Okay, you can train yourself to be humorous. So what are all the don'ts? Humor. Where you should not be humorous. What you should not do. Never crack a joke at other person's expense. Body shaming about somebody's hairstyle or dressing or some habits. If you crack a joke, it is considered as insensitivity about religion, about a person's ethnicity, or the location where from the person is coming, because it will insult the person and it will make him feel very small. At that particular time, all of us would have enjoyed, but is the person on whom the joke is cracked, is he enjoying it? If it was you who was in that position, will you enjoy it? You won't. Don't crack that joke. Okay, always put yourself in other person's shoes and see whether you will be able to. This one, not only in the corporate world, even outside it is very important for you, because even outside we create relationships. Maybe you are in a dire situation and somebody has to help you, and if you have cracked the joke on that person and hurt him deeply, is he going to help you? No. So ensure that you never crack a joke at the other person's expense, even if it is your wife, even if it is your son, even if it is your brother. Please ensure that never crack a joke at other person's expense. The laughter is not worth it if it is going to spoil a relationship. Okay. And then never overuse humor. Then what happens? This fellow is always cracking a joke. You become a pushover. Never do that. Use it like in the food, how much salt is being used, how much spice is getting used. Too much of anything is bad. So use it only appropriately, relevantly, only to strengthen relationships, not to create a poor image of yourself. Just because I want to be funny, tomorrow I will dress like a clown and go to the office. No, that is not the way we want to be seen. We want also our image is also very important. But be intelligent when you are humorous. Okay. Insensitive use of humor is wrong. Sad events, difficult situations, somebody's difficulty, you crack a joke at that. Okay. And somebody said, I am in deep trouble, I went to the stock market, I lost money, something like that. You crack a joke. You are on that. You are always looking at it, you do this, you do that, and you create a joke on that. It is very insensitive, because you have to have empathy on somebody else's problem. On that you don't crack a joke. On your own issues, your own problems, your own stupidity, you are free to crack jokes. Totally free. Not on others. Okay? And please ensure that your next increment, next promotion is coming from your boss. So never crack a joke on your boss. And that means, it doesn't mean that you crack a joke on your boss's face. Some bosses may agree and take it nicely. But somebody else cracks a joke, and you probably are in a WhatsApp group, you are thinking that, I will crack a joke in this group, he is not there as a member. Maybe one of your colleagues is interested in the promotion that you are interested in, and he forwards that to your boss. You are gone. So never crack a joke. He is just one forward away. He will be aware of whatever jokes is being cracked on him. So never crack a joke on your boss. Okay. Now, in summary, I hope my presentation was enjoyable to you. Just remember these things. Humor is a must-have tool. You must have it. Okay, there is no two ways. It is mandatory arsenal in the in your weapon box. Humor is a very important weapon. Have it, cultivate it, and cultivate your stories. Collect your stories, and find out a way how to narrate these stories interestingly to your friends and colleagues to strengthen your relationships. Sense of humor, it can be developed. It is not difficult. Like I said, you go to Comedy Wire, see the YouTube videos on how to create jokes, join Toastmasters, follow the humorous speaking path, and develop your humor. And then use the tool wisely. Do not overuse. Do not use it inappropriately. Never use humor to hurt anybody and dent a relationship. I hope you enjoyed whatever I spoke today, and I hope some useful tips you got from my presentation. And I wish you all the very best and a great, great, joyous work atmosphere because of your humor. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. You said in the beginning that you have 627 slides. I counted, it came to 597 only. Thank you so much, sir. It was really wonderful. When you are talking about that in workplace, how humor is important, we all very recently saw, sir, what happened at the Oscars, where billion people watch it. Before that, sir, this is our certificate to you, sir, from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. We thank you for being a wonderful faculty, sir. It is being displayed on the screen. So
Thank you.
I
hope I will receive it in WhatsApp also, because my boss is only one forward away.
Will WhatsApp to you also, sir.
Yeah.
So I was mentioning, sir, what we saw in the Oscars when Sir Will Smith went to the stage and then hit the anchor Chris Rock.
Yeah.
That man recovered within few seconds.
Correct.
Billion people watched it on the TV on the screen, and it was a very bad show for the Oscars. He recovered and said, "You just beat the ass out of me." He said this. So he made the moment very light, although it was a very serious moment.
Yeah.
But then this is the way, sir, very professional anchors, they handle very tense situations. It was one of the worst moments in Oscars, but he handled it extremely well.
Yeah, but there also another lesson, what I told you is there, that he cracked a joke at the expense of another person.
Yeah, that he should not have
And
done.
the wife of Will Smith,
Yes, sir.
he cracked the joke,
Yes.
and she was a sick person. And
Absolutely.
that, so though other people laughed initially, the moment Will Smith got up and slapped that guy, maybe it is a setup, we don't know, okay? But maybe he wanted to convey this message that don't crack a joke on other people, or your wife should not be, a topic of discussion or laughter on of somebody else. Maybe he wanted to convey that message, and they set it up probably. Irrespective of what it is, it also had the lesson that you should not crack a joke at the expense of
Absolutely, sir.
somebody
And
else.
then, yeah, exactly. You covered this in your slide, that never be insensitive when you are cracking a joke, and better to crack joke on oneself rather than on somebody's wife who is not well.
Yeah.
So, but
Unless you
all
have a
is good
relationship
against
with
that.
that wife.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. It was a really very wonderful, sir, to be hearing you after a long time. Last year also we heard you. Thank you so very much, sir. Over to Mr. Prabdeep ji.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Satyamurthy ji. Thank you, Ranganathan ji. We had a
From
great,
anybody?
yes.
Any questions from anybody? No.
Manu, there
We
is one
don't have,
observation which is there. Only one observation from one Mr. Amit Kumar Sharma. He had observed that he has thanked you for clearing his understanding about lateral thinking. So I thought I'll just tell you. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Over to you, Prabdeep ji.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We now move on to the second session where we have one of our leader from Hong Kong who has been serving our Hong Kong chapter from past many years and has been very helpful. Thank you, Vinod, for being here. I'll quickly introduce you, Vinod. Vinod is a Hong Kong-based chartered accountant. He has 20 plus years of business and consulting experience in Asia, and help 200 plus businesses with their accounting needs. Vinod is also a serial entrepreneur and have set up 10 plus businesses to date in outsourcing, talent acquisition, real estate, flexi office, and software sectors. Vinod has worked with some of the world's leading MNCs, including Reckitt and Coleman, Geoffrey Manners, Waters India, as well as consulting roles for several large MNCs in India. Thank you, Vinod, and thank you for your support to our chapter in Hong Kong, your leadership in Hong Kong chapter, and also to all other initiatives of ICAI. You have been always a great support, and today coming from a city to speak on public speaking skills, which are very much needed for everyone, and we are very confident that it will make a big difference in the lives of our young members. So I request all our members present here today to please give a big virtual round of applause for Vinod. And Vinod, without further ado, the screen is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pradeep. That was a very generous introduction. Not sure whether I really deserve it, but thanks a ton. So, guys, it is a privilege to be presenting today and talking to you about public speaking. Some problem. Like Pradeep said, my name is Vinod Menon. I'm a chartered accountant from Hong Kong, and I have got over 20 years of experience. And during my several years of experience, I have had the opportunity to speak in multiple forums, small as well as large. And what I am going to share today is just a collection of what my experiences has been over a period of time. If you have come here to learn something, I must say that you are in for a massive disappointment. You will not learn anything new. What I am about to state in the next 45 minutes or so is going to be just common sense, things that you already know, but I'll be bringing that into the fore so that you will be able to relate and adapt it in your whenever you get an opportunity to talk to a group of people. When we talk about public speaking, what we have in mind is someone standing behind a podium addressing a stadium filled with people, or probably a politician delivering an exciting speech to his constituency. Yes, that is one aspect of public speaking. But many of us may not have an opportunity where we have to deliver such an address. But what is indeed plausible is talking to a group of smaller audiences in a classroom, in a valedictory address, to your office colleagues, pitching to investors, presentation to board members, probably a thank you address, or some similar situations, right? Having public speaking skills will definitely help you enhance your performance in all these situations. And the whole purpose of today's presentation is just to give you the confidence that in any scenario where you have to speak to a group of people, you will know what to do, what not to do, and possibly use some of the tips that I am giving to make your presentation worthwhile. As chartered accountants, you will be in senior positions in your organizations. In leadership roles, you would be expected to address a group of people sooner or later. Our academic pursuits, unfortunately, do not necessarily equip us with all the necessary soft skills, right? But the good news is that these skills can be acquired. Effective public speaking, what does it mean? It simply means the art of articulating your ideas, your views, your opinions in the simplest possible way. And this requires having a command over language and clarity of thought. Now, command over language does not mean that you have to be a walking dictionary. You just need to frame your sentences in such a way and structure your thoughts in such a way that your sentences reach out to the audience in the manner in which you purport to send it. Most of the events that you would be talking in would generally be pre-planned. You would know in advance, and therefore you will get ample opportunity to prepare for the event, to prepare for your talk, prepare for your speech. Be well prepared when you go to address a group of people. If necessary, write it down. When I say write it down, doesn't mean that you write it down and then read it out of the paper or learn it by heart. The whole purpose of writing it down is that it will help you familiarize yourself with the key points. And before the event, try to practice a few times. This will not only help you perfect the speech, but you will be able to time it as well. So you know exactly that you will be finishing the speech within your given time slot. It would be great if you can also obtain feedback about the talk that you have prepared from someone you trust. Could be anybody from your family, your seniors, your colleagues, your friends, whoever. But more important, it is always your opinion that matters. You should know how you feel about the speak, when you write it and when you read it out. Take time also before the event to understand your audience. One of my first speaking assignments was in front of a group of computer science students in Bombay, and I had to deliver a lecture on economics. Most accountants think that they know economics. I thought so too. And what the heck, right? I mean, computer sciences students, what do they know about economics? I definitely know more about it than them. And to my dismay, I found that one of the students was actually a master's in economics. But anyway, to cut the long story short, if you know the audience, you will be able to modulate your presentation before the audience so that they can relate to you in a much, much better way. The other thing that you need to be careful about is to ensure that all your tools are in place. Be sure to check that your laptop is fully charged, syncing well with the projector. Take care to carry any adapters that you may need. Check the working of the equipment well in advance. Ensure that all the stuff is set up well before the event. Don't scamper when it is time to speak. And now you're ready and fully prepared. Time for the show. Remember that you are the star of the show, the center of attraction. I just want you to follow a small activity, right? I want you to close your eyes right now. And I want you to take a deep breath and exhale from your mouth. A deep breath in and exhale from your mouth. And repeat. Slowly open your eyes. How do you feel? This is the best relaxation technique that anyone can tell you. Just take deep breaths and release it slowly. Clear your mind of any clutter before you start your event. And be sure that you are relaxed and well rested before the event. This is one more tip that I would like to give, because this is something that I have noticed which many people don't get it right. how would you hold your mic? The mic should be, you should never hold your mic close to the mouth, like you're not a singer, right? The best way to hold the mic would be a few inches below the chin, because that is the most elegant way in which you can hold a mic when you're talking. Now, of course, these days you really don't use a mic, but whenever you do, this is how you hold it, like this gentleman on the screen. And normally you should hold the hand on your hold the mic on your non-dominant hand. What is your non-dominant hand? Let us say you're a right-hander, you use your right hand to write and do most of the stuff. Then your non-dominant hand is your left hand. And why do I say that you have to hold your mic with the non-dominant hand? Because your right hand is then free to make gestures and provide additional support and verbally and communicate or enhance your verbal communication. And using hand gestures is so important when you're talking to people. The other thing that you should not do is to hide behind a podium. Of course, in some formal occasions, what happens is, like where you are being recorded or you're in front of a TV screen, etc., or it's a really very formal occasion, standing behind the podium to give the speech is necessary. But where it is not necessary, it is always better to show some movement on the stage. It creates a kind of a positive energy which reflects well on the audience. When I say movement, it doesn't mean frantic pacing up and down in sheer nervousness. No, that's not what I meant. It means slight movements across the stage or towards the front and back, using hand gestures to communicate whatever you want to communicate in the most elegant way. Before that, one more thing that I would like to tell you is how, when I said that you are the center of attraction, you should also remember, and this is again something that happens quite frequently, the visual aid that you use to give your presentation is not the center of the event. That should, normally what I do is, the visual aid, whether it's a screen or the PowerPoint slide or whatever, is kept on the right hand side from where I speak. When I speak I am in the center of the stage, and the visual aid is towards one side, which is on the right hand side, so that it is on the left hand side of the audience. The reason is that when I speak, I want the audience to focus on me, and the visual aid should be looked at only when I point towards it, or when it is necessary for them to view the screen. Again, the whole story should be what I say and what I want to communicate. Here, it is also important to note that you find a lot of people reading directly out of the PowerPoint slide. I mean, have you ever seen that? You sit in a presentation and the presenter is actually flipping through the PowerPoint slide and reading exactly what is written on the screen. Now, that's the worst thing really that you can do. If you just have to read what is there on the screen, you can just email it to them. Then a presentation is really not required. Your visual aid is only a brief bullet points of what you want to express. Your thoughts are an elaboration of whatever is on the PowerPoint slide. I hope I'm making sense on this. Let me tell you and let me confess that even after so many years, I have got about 25 years of professional experience, and even after so many years, every time I stand in front of people, I have butterflies in my stomach. It is okay to experience fear. Most of us have. And if somebody says that he does not have, then probably he is not speaking the truth. So what are the things that you need to do to minimize your experience of fear? Well, there are common things that you can do. For example, obviously you need to know the topic that you're going to talk about really well. You need to understand it in depth. You need to be properly organized. Your reading notes, your tools, your thoughts, nothing should be cluttered. It should be thoroughly well organized and set up. You should have done your practice the way I said earlier, practice and then more practice. Practice in front of friends, in front of family members, etc. You should learn to challenge specific worries. What does that challenging specific worries means? Sometimes, what could be a worry when you go out to speak? That people will judge you? And what would happen if they judge you? Nothing, right? I mean, after the event, everything is forgotten. So, once you challenge the specific worries, they cease to be worries. You learn to visualize your success. Close your eyes and imagine that you are delivering a very successful talk and accompanied by a huge applause and pat on your back by your boss. Now that visualization will give you a lot of confidence to walk up on the stage. Like I said, do some deep breathing. Focus on the other trick that I normally do is when I speak in front of a crowd, generally, they say that you have to look at the people whom you're talking to, obviously. Now, that necessarily means that you should give eye contact, right? I have a small trick that helps me quite a lot and possibly which you could use. For example, if the audience, the person sitting in front of me has got a glass, instead of looking at his eyes, I look at the rim of the glass. Or I look slightly above the eyes. So it appears as if you are looking at the person's eyes, but in fact you are not. And if that helps to reduce a little bit of your nervousness, why not? Again, don't fear a moment of silence. See, what happens is many times when we may not be professional orators, right? So many times when we are expressing our thoughts, sometimes we find ourselves to be at loss of words. And we have to spend a few seconds grasping to figure out what is the best word to use in that particular situation. And at that time, you might feel that, it is like a huge time, a deafening silence as they call it. Okay? But believe me, it's just a moment. And if you don't make a big deal out of it, nobody will even notice it. So just ignore your moment and do not fear your moment of silence. Learn to recognize your success. Guys, I can assure you, not everybody can really walk up on the stage and talk to people. And if you can do that, you need to recognize your success. You deserve an applause. Give a pat on your back. Doesn't matter how you did. Doesn't matter if you have made a few mistakes. Doesn't matter if the applause that you got was not loud enough. Doesn't matter. What matters is the applause that you give yourself. Give a pat on your back. Recognize your success, because that will put you to your very best for the next event. And get whatever support you want. Like the previous speaker was saying, there are a lot of materials available on the internet. Speak to your friends, speak to family members, speak to your boss or whoever you think can help you in taking you from the position of fear to a position of confidence. There's one tool that Mel Robbins talks about in her sessions. It's called the 5-second rule. Let me just, before explaining to you what the 5-second rule is, for a minute, tell you what is fear. What happens when you have fear, right? There are certain physical stress that happens to your body. For example, your heart is racing hard. Maybe your palm is sweaty. Maybe you feel a bit dizzy. All these are physical manifestations of what fear is. Now, if you look at excitement, the physical manifestations are exactly the same. You still have a racing heart. you still possibly have sweating or a little bit feeling dizzy, etc. So if the physical manifestations of fear and excitement are exactly the same, then what is the difference? The difference is how your brain interprets the physical distress. In case of fear, your brain interprets as if something unpleasant is going to happen, and therefore puts you on a flight mode. Whereas in the case of of excitement, your brain interprets as if something cool is going to happen. So in the 5-second rule, what we are doing is we are just tricking our brain to move from a position of fear to a position of excitement. Sorry. How do we do that? Okay, let's say that you are about to address a large crowd and you are behind the stage and a few minutes away from walking onto the stage, and you are having this expression of this experience of fear. What do? Just close your eyes and count for 5 seconds from behind. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you do that, what happens is it interrupts the current thought, whatever it is. All the negative emotions that you have, your brain automatically interrupts that. And then you bring in an anchor thought. Now let me spend a few seconds on what anchor thought is. Anchor thought is a happy space that you would like to be in. And if it is related to the experience, the fear experience that you're going to have, then that's the best anchor thought that you can have. For example, let's say I have got fear of turbulence when I'm flying a plane, and the turbulence does happen. My anchor thought could possibly be that I'm going back home from the airport and being with my family, walking in the garden, and spending time with my kids or whatever, with my parents or whoever my loved ones are. And that anchor thought will immediately de-stress me. It will make my mind happy. Or if you are going into a stage to give a public speech, your anchor thought could be that you have given a fantastic speech, your boss is patting you on your back, you are getting a tremendous applause, and you are feeling proud of yourself. That could be an anchor thought. Whatever it is, have this anchor thought ready and visualized, so that when you complete your 5-second 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you bring the anchor thought and then tell your brain that you are excited. By doing this, what happens is you're switching the messaging of the physical distress of your body to your brain, telling that this physical distress is being experienced because of excitement. And then you go on to the stage with emotions of excitement rather than emotions of fear. Take it till you make it. Right. A few things that you need to remember when you have decided, when you are ready to give your speech. The first thing is about adaptability. It is okay, like I said, to write down your speech. It is okay to practice. If you feel that you need to by heart, absolutely go ahead and do that. But be ready for adaptability. Be ready to face any changes in situation. I was listening to somebody who was sharing an experience. He was called to give a lecture on something related to the pure sciences or something serious, and he walked into this room full of people, and there was an open bar on the side of the room, and people have been drinking for hours together, and they were in a party mood. Now this guy, when he walks in, he realizes that the audience are not in a state of mind where they could receive the information that he wanted to share in the way in which he had presented, he was supposed to present it, because the environment was a joyous party kind of an environment. So what he did was, he just removed his tie, removed his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and started having a conversation, slowly moving into his topic as a part of the conversation. So what he did essentially was he kind of adapted to the situation. If he had just followed his speech that he had prepared, possibly the reception would not have been the way he would have expected it. There's another example. I had a friend who was required to make a presentation, and he went up on stage, and he soon realized that for some reason the projector was not working or something. He was not able to use his visual aid, and the visual aid was really very important for him to put his views or his opinions across. So what he did, he just modified whatever he wanted to say, so that even without the visual aid, he was able to send the same powerful message that he wanted to send to his audience. What I'm trying to say over here is that you should have the flexibility to change if the situation demands that you need to change. And this is a skill that you will acquire over a period of time. It's not probably, what you could do is, once you've prepared your presentation, maybe you could imagine what could be different scenarios and look at how you can modulate or adapt your presentation to suit the changed scenarios. And as far as possible, authenticity. Speak from your heart. Believe in what you speak. And that will show. Your audience will feel it. It will be reflected in what you say. And the other thing, when you start your talk, is to start with a punch. My name is Vinod Menon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am here to talk to you about public speaking. How boring is that, right? How do you start with a punch? Start with an absolute provocative or a shock statement. For example, I am going to discuss with you why you are going to have a failed career. Wow. That's a provocative statement, isn't it? I am going to discuss with you why you are going to have a failed career. You are immediately putting your audience on the edge, because they would want to know what is it that you're going to say which will either help them from a failed career, or the audience is out there to prove that you're wrong. It's something that's not going to happen to them the way you're going to say. In any case, you have their attention, and that is what you want, right? You want the audience's attention. Another example. If you have a small business, there is an 80% chance that you will fail. That's another provocative statement. And then you can go on to talk about how, financial forecasting, financial prudence, or etc. can help minimize that risk. But you're starting with a provocative statement. And to a businessman who has just started his business, you're saying that there's an 80% chance that you would fail. He would want to prove you wrong. And therefore, he will listen to you attentively to see where he can prove you wrong. Similarly, the other example of how you can start with a punch is by painting a picture. I was sitting on the river bank with a calm flowing river. I could see a bunch of squirrels playing around. There was a tree, and the wind was whistling through the tree, and the whistling sound was music to my ears, etc. So when you paint the picture and then you continue your talk from that picture onwards, I don't know, whatever, as long as there is a connection between the picture that you're painting and what you're saying, it definitely keeps the attention of the audience. There's another example of built up. For example, I heard Dan Pink talk in one of his talks. He said, I need to confess something at the outset. A little over 20 years ago, I did something that I regret. Something that I'm not particularly proud of. Something that I, in many ways, wish that no one knows. But that here I feel obliged to reveal. When I build up a opening statement like that, what is your thought process? What are you thinking? You're thinking, oh man, this guy is going to tell me something embarrassing. What is it? What is it? Tell me, right? You're creating that anticipation to listen to what you want to say. This is what I say, start with a punch. Sometimes you can use props. You can use an umbrella, you can use a particular attire, you can use a cap, whatever you can think of that relates to the topic. Bring it on. Make the audience sit up and recognize you. Like another example that I could give is about Greta Thunberg, right? I mean, all of us have heard about her climate speech. We will be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. On the other side of the ocean is my school. How dare you? Isn't that a provocative statement? You would always remember what she said. And that is an example of how to start with a real punch. Use stories and humor. I will not talk much about humor because you have already had a big session on humor, and it has been covered so well that there is nothing more that I can talk about it. But stories are really a powerful way to convey your message. Stories have the effect of being memorable, persuasive, and it is human. We humans are the only living creatures that communicate through stories. And research has shown that there is 22 times more chance of your story becoming, of your message becoming memorable if you use a story. 22 times more. The story could be a recap story. For example, I did something on 20th of January, 2 days later this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and finally it resulted in on 30th of March my balance sheet being prepared. Right? That's a recap story. Very simple. But what I'm going to talk and elaborate a bit more are situational stories. I remember my audit days when I was working in a small firm in Bombay 25 years ago. The firm was located in an industrial building. The office was how a typical audit firm would look like, with papers, files, and computers on all tables. Those were the days when computers had just been introduced into audit offices and typewriters were still being used. So there was a lone typewriter languishing in a corner next to the washing machine. Next to the water machine. What would a washing machine do in the office? Alongside was a small pantry, and in the pantry we used to commune together for lunch. It was one such afternoon where we were leisurely discussing something relating to a client, and I passed a joke saying something about depreciation. I really can't recollect what exactly the topic was and what I said, but what I do remember very clearly was my audit manager, Mr. Dinesh Maheshwari, shrugging his shoulders and saying, "Can a depreciable asset be even a long-term capital asset? My God, you don't even know Section 50. It was embarrassing for me at that time. But this anecdote is so vividly painted in my memory that I may forget everything under the Income Tax Act 1961, but never in my life will I forget Section 50. And that Section 50 says that depreciable assets are always short-term capital assets. This is the example of a situational story. What I'm trying to convey over here is that an anecdote can really keep your memory alive. And when I narrated this situational story just now, you would notice that I mentioned the time and the place. I said that it was 25 years ago in the audit place in an industrial building. And I said that I described exactly the scene, the location where it was happening, the reaction to the things that happened, and the results that followed. And once you do that, once you tell your story and you connect it to or any points in the story to your larger text of the speech, that is where you'll be able to send your message across with a lot more power. And obviously, like the previous speaker said, as far as possible and as long as it is sensitive, please try to use humor. Time and again it has been tested. It has proven to be very effective when you communicate. It helps you relate to your audience. But again, be sure that you are being sensitive, be audience friendly, and don't take too long. And don't start the joke by saying, hey, look, I'm going to tell something funny, or you will find this extremely funny. Let the audience decide whether it is really funny or not, right? You move on. Did you hear about Shashi Tharoor's Oxford speech? It was viral all over the internet a few years ago. He was talking in Oxford about the British colonialism and its impact on India. And in his speech, in the middle, somewhere he says, it's true that the sun never sets on the British Empire because even the gods don't trust the Brits in dark. Now, that is an example of using humor interspersed with the topic that you're speaking of. Be passionate and enthusiastic. Your performance is how well you connect with the audience. Your energy has to be reflected to the listeners. People would immediately switch off if you do not exhibit enthusiasm. I remember this professor of ours who used to teach audit to us when we were in commerce. Oh my God. He used to sit behind his desk and read out chapters from S.V. Gatlia. The 45 minutes lectures used to be torturous. Just imagine, a subject as dry as audit and then somebody sitting and reading a textbook. You don't want that. You need to be passionate about the subject that you're talking about. I know that you could be invited to talk about subjects that you may not be so passionate. Even then, look for something within to stimulate excitement. If you seek, you will get. The other thing that you could possibly do is to use a conversational mode, like the way I am talking. When I talk in front of a crowd, I prefer to adopt the conversational mode. I just talk as if I'm having a conversation with a friend. If I become too pretentious, I tend to stutter and I might seem or appear artificial. When you use a conversational mode, you would appear more natural. It has also been my experience that speaking about your vulnerability, I always get this wrong, vulnerability. Speaking about your vulnerability helps you connect with the audience. If you are feeling nervous, if there is some embarrassing fact about you that you don't mind revealing, the audience will empathize and would immediately root for you to be successful. But use this tip very carefully, right? You don't want to use it in front of rowdy schoolboys. They will hoot away to glory if you are showing your vulnerability there. So use it with discretion. The last thing that I want to say is, and guys, if you don't take anything today from my presentation, but just this one, I will consider it my success. This is the most important tip that I can give for you today. Go with a genuine desire to give. I see so many speakers, when the audience asks something, says, oh, this is exactly what you will learn in my book. What they want is you to buy their book. Or every slide in the presentation has a QR code of their social media page. They want you to follow them on social media. The last slide inevitably would have their email address and WhatsApp number. They want you to contact them. It's all about taking. I say giving helps you connect with your listeners. I am part of an international organization called BNI, where we exercise the philosophy of givers gain. It is a universal principle that if you give, it will come back to you some way or the other. If your effort is towards achieving a sale, it is short-sighted approach. Your approach should be towards giving value. Let the audience leave with the impression that they have gained something. And Finally, I want to show you a few examples of some of the points that I've spoken to just now, but let me see if I can share it.
Our next contestant number 14, Trisha Bandhu. The barrier between us, Trisha Bandhu.
Picture this. You're in the MRT, you're scrolling through your phone, and then you take notice of this lady walking through the cabin saying hello, hello, hello to everybody, but no eye contact made. And then you notice this man over here who's also scrolling through his phone. And when he takes notice of that lady, he gives the raised eyebrows look. I encountered myself in this situation a few months ago on my way to school.
So what did you see over here? You saw the child. You saw the child starting off with a story, a situation, explaining the situation, and painting a picture. You could literally see the people sitting in the MRT and, someone coming and looking for a seat and, people refusing to share eye contact. This is what I said, that your opening line starting with a punch, using a situational or a story to or an event to paint what you want to say. Let's look at one more.
Make a confession at the outset here. A little over 20 years ago, I did something that I regret. Something that I'm not particularly proud of. Something that in many ways I wish no one would ever know. That here I feel kind of obliged to reveal. The late 1980s, in a moment of youthful indiscretion, I went to law school. Now,
graduated from college. This is the closest I've ever gotten to a college graduation.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union. 221 years ago, in a hall that still stands across the street, a group of men gathered and with these simple words launched America's improbable experiment in democracy. Farmers and scholars, statesmen and patriots who had traveled across the ocean to escape tyranny and...
I can't thank you guys for the opportunity. Let me tell you something. If tomorrow wasn't promised, what would you give for today? Forget everything else. Forget everything else. Forget that there was any sunlight left. What would you spend today thinking about? Yourself or the man that's beside you?
Spoke here last winter. This nation was facing the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We were losing an average of 700,000 jobs per month. Credit was frozen, and our financial system was on the verge of collapse. As any American who is still looking for work or a way to pay their bills will tell you, we are by no means out of the woods. A full and vibrant recovery is still many months away. And I will not let up until those Americans who seek jobs can find them.
So these were some of the powerful one-liners, opening statements that brings the audience, that captures the audience attention. And with that, I hand it over back to the dais. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Vinod. And I would now request our committee secretary, Mr. G. Ranganathan ji, to please propose a vote of thanks to you. Ranganathan ji, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, CA Vinod Menon, sir. It was a very, very wonderful session. But public speaking is very important for our professionals, because many times the professionals themselves feel that they are very good at the core areas. And before that, sir, I'd like to present the certificate to you as a gratitude from our committee for members in industry and business. So on behalf of the committee, sir, thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to present the certificate.
Thank you, sir.
Our members many times have felt that although the CA course is so all-encompassing, the 3-year articleship training makes them very, very strong in core areas, but sometimes perhaps the public speaking or the presentation skills or the front office skills or selling skills, maybe this is a certain thing as you call the soft skills. Maybe if they have this also, although many of them have, I see many of them being in the council of the institute and in the regional council elected positions. There are wonderful speakers we have.
Sure.
But I'm talking about these young members who are watching our program today, who are into their first job. I sincerely feel that a session like this will go a very long way in actually making them standing in good stead in their profession. The various tips you gave, the do's and don'ts that you had said, very wonderful, particularly the last videos, drive home the point as to the punchline, the elevator pitch.
Absolutely.
These are all very, very important things. Thank you so very much, sir. And thank you, Mr. Prabdeep, for organizing this very wonderful session with you, sir. Very grateful to you. Over to you, Mr. Prabdeep ji.
Thank you, Ranganathan ji. Thank you, Vinod. Thank you, Satyamurthy ji. We had great 2 sessions on communication today, humor, and overall public speaking skills. And this will definitely, as you all said, will make a big difference in the life of our young members. And tomorrow we are going further ahead on the skills part with PowerPoint skills, specifically focusing first session by CA Sriram Gopalakrishnan, who is based out of Kuwait, and then negotiation skills, which is also very important, and we'll have CA Rajiv Shah from Abu Dhabi, UAE. So please be here tomorrow, get your friends here also, let everyone take benefit of these programs live, and stay safe, take care, good night, bye-bye.
Good night, thank you, bye-bye.